A night of pure chaos.
This is your warning. Leave the area. Disperse.
People pushing the limit with police.
None of y'all be mad enough to stand up to one black man.
Racial tensions and nerves on edge. Even an officer we caught on camera gave in to his rage, calling protesters animals. Listen.
Bring it. Bring it.
Many
Okay, hold
are
on.
angry.
So I love how they're acting like that's not just how a lot of cops already just act like that. They're like, it even drove this officer to the breaking point. Like, no, that's probably just his personality all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Do you not know any fucking cops?
They normalize it. This cop was driven to release a little bit of his rage. You know, like he holds no culpability in what he said.
Right. I mean, I look at it on the other side too. I mean, who knows how long he been out there hearing all types of shit for like hours, like, you fucking pig, you piece of shit, you know, and maybe he just snapped. He had a snapping point. Like, when I'm driving in my car, somebody cuts me off, I might say some things I don't normally would say, but when you're pissed off, you say shit. So I leave room for him being a human being,
I would say though that if you're a cop, like, you have to put your temper aside. I mean, you have to have sort of an objectivity towards the situation. Like, I have my brother Scotty's a hothead, and he has that same shit in traffic where it's like, someone cuts him off or something. He's like, wish I had a gun right now so I kill that motherfucker. But but I mean, it's a good thing that he doesn't have a gun. It's a good thing that he's not a officer of the law designated with protecting the populace, because he's a hothead. And this guy, I think that if he can't handle a situation that a police officer is supposed to handle, then without cracking and saying something that is supposedly out of character.
And I have to question his choice of words too. Why didn't he just call them like motherfuckers or something? Why did he call them animals? That's a very interesting choice of words to use.
I think that's at the root of this entire thing. I think that's the nerve that's gotten struck here, is that there is this kind of racism in this deep South area of the cops against these minority communities, and I think that's why he called them animals.
Yeah,
and this whole shit bubbling over, the way it's bubbled over, guys, I look at it like this is the thing that tipped it over. There's probably been underlining things that have happened for years.
Well, I know one thing that underlies this problem is that in this particular town, Ferguson, Missouri,
right,
black people are twice as likely to be arrested on a traffic stop as white people. So there's a pattern of racism in the police department there that's already been established prior to these events.
Right, and lack of diversity is another thing. I mean, they've got 53 officers and only 3 of them are African American, but it's a predominantly black area. So you got to kind of mix it up and bring some familiar faces in the situation. That would help. Doesn't mean that it would change everything, because blue is a color too. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you would hope that the people that, and this just is me, maybe I'm fucking crazy, you would hope that the police would be representative and actually come from the communities that they police. Then they own a stake in that community.
True.
You know what I mean? Then we're not bussing people in from outside to run around in a community enforcing the law that they don't come from, they have no stake in.
Right.
So
none
of this shit.
There's a lot of shit about this case, man. That's sad. For one, there's no dash cam footage. I was pressing for dash cam footage. Like, when that comes out, we can just put this thing to bed. But in Ferguson, they're not required to have dash cams. So what's that about?
There is video footage though of the victim in the street, and his family running up to him and stuff like that. So there's definitely video footage.
Yeah, but it's after the fact though. I mean, it's not what led up, and that's what I'm losing subs now because I'm on the side of the victim. In this case, I see it as being the kid that was killed. I call it an execution. And
but I mean,
the fact that we don't see what transpires before the guys in the street, they're pissed off that I'm choosing sides. But in my opinion, if you shoot an unarmed kid who's a distance from you, then you're wrong.
Right, I agree with you there. And the thing about it is, we've covered so many stories just here on the Drunken Peasants. of cops killing people for no good reason. So this happens all the time, all across America. I mean,
right.
There have been times where we haven't gone a week without covering a story or two about police shootings or police corruption. And the real problem is, like, you know, none of this shit would be happening if these police departments just had the slightest bit of repercussions for officers who fucking do this shit.
Yeah, we actually covered a story out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, where I used to live, where probably about 5 heavily armed officers, almost like with military weaponry, gunned down a guy with a pocket knife.
Right.
And then they shoot him with beanbag guns after they already shot him.
Yeah, he's dead. Now we'll use the non-lethal measures.
Right.
Like, okay.
Right.
It seems to be getting out. And my question always is it just getting out of hand now, or is it just now that we have all this oversight with all this video? Are we just now learning how brutal police can be to people?
Well, you know what it really is after 9/11, all this strengthening of law enforcement was legislated, and you know, now every fucking police department is a SWAT team with tanks and fucking military grade weaponry.
That's what I think is the most profound thing to come out of this story, is the militarization of the police force. You see snipers and shit perched up. You know, you see these armored vehicles and cops in full soldier regalia. I mean, that type of shit, is that what we need?
I mean, like, look, I mean, if when these, I mean, like, we used to have SWAT teams to go into, like, a hostage situation or something like that. Now they fucking send SWAT teams to serve warrants, to search premises for drugs. I mean, it's not necessary. It's fucking overkill. You don't need a fucking army of fucking guys brandishing assault rifles just to serve a fucking warrant.
While they're in there looking for drugs, they're like, oh, there's a fucking chihuahua. I better shoot it before it bites me. You know?
Yeah, they're always shooting people's dogs.
Yeah.
Flash banging people's kids.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of, like you say, not since 9/11, the militarization of the police force, and then just the fact that we have access to all this shit. I mean, dude, I think it's always been here. It's just now that the way communication is spread out and you get things right away, you know, via the internet, that we're able to know about this stuff.
Yeah. And there's no civilian oversight either for these cops.
There you go. But yeah, I remember that story about New Mexico. That was sad. If I'm not mistaken, that guy in New Mexico, he was like, his crime was he was sleeping in the hills. Desert or some shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
yeah, there's an area
out without a license or something.
Yeah, there's an area between like the regular city and then there's the foothills. And there's a lot of fancy homes up in the foothills, but there's also a lot of just empty dirt, you know, and he was just sleeping up there. And that's basically what he did.
And for that, he earned a death sentence.
Yeah.
From Albuquerque's police department,
which has killed more people than New York City's police department not even per capita, just, you know, more people in general. You're talking
I did a story on that, and I know they said, well, it's because they recently fired their chief, their commissioner, got a new one, and I remember him saying, well, we have a lot of mentally impaired folks. I'm like, shit, New York's got a lot of mentally impaired folks.
They got more, just in general.
Hell, my family's got a lot of mentally impaired folks.
There you go.
Someone argued that I'm among them.
You know, the whole state of New Mexico only has like 2.5 million people. You know, the city of New York itself has way more than that. Yeah. So
doesn't make sense.
Multiple times more than that. So yeah,
all right, let's play some more of the story.
About what witnesses say was an unprovoked attack on an unarmed teenager. Michael Brown, shot and killed Saturday by a Ferguson police officer. We watched as a struggle played out Sunday night. Some protesters who took to the streets trying to keep the peace while taking a stand against police.
This is really a peace march. It's nothing to start to hurt a police officer. This is all about peace.
It's not a peace march anymore. I mean, you hear what's happening. You see these confrontations between people and police officers.
Yes, and it done got outrageous.
Others who simply came to cause trouble.
All right, police are still stationary right now, but I want to show you what's happening over at that JC Wireless. People broke through the glass, and right now you can see people running in and out, apparently looting that store.
Hey, look,
fucking
like I told people, I said, look, man, there are people who will take advantage of a situation regardless. So you cannot. Let's separate the idiots who are breaking in and stealing shit. Let's separate them from the kid that's dead because he didn't have anything to do with them looting.
Let's also separate them from the protesters who are not doing anything like that.
There you go.
These people.
How about we not mention them at all and focus our attention where it really needs to be, on the fucking cops?
Well, I mean, they're the ones who are being used. They're the ones who are being used to justify the police presence there, though.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, if there weren't people that were doing this shit like looting and fucking setting shit on fire, then there would be no justification for those cops to even be there, really.
They'd be there anyway.
They sure would be, but...
I guess the cops were a little too busy, calling protesters animals and firing tear gas at them.
Right, they're not even...
These people...
They're not even stopping the looting. They're just standing around like we're here to contain the protest.
They're doing it in front of a fucking news camera. Right. You know, if they're going to... Why wouldn't there be any cops there to see that?
Every single one of those people is going to get arrested, though, because they're all being filmed doing it. I mean...
I don't know, maybe.
It's going to... Yeah, I mean, it'll happen. They're going to put out mugshots on all of them.
You think so?
Yeah, they do that.
And
that's their
but you know what,
policy.
though? Even though I'm against the looting, I got to say this, man. If you know they're filming this shit. You know that there's newscasters in the area filming it. You know it's a likelihood you could get caught. So I'm thinking the people that are going in there who are stealing stuff, knowing that the odds are against them, they must be pretty bad off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know the economics in Ferguson, but it's got to be a reason why you would risk going to jail for a pair of shoes.
Right.
Instead of saying, let's criminalize you for that, let's also look at the reason why somebody would have a mentality that their freedom isn't worth a pair of shoes.
Right, which is why, I'm saying, why even show the fucking looting at all? What you're seeing is desperation.
Because the
poverty.
Movie doesn't work, man. The movie don't work without the bad guy, and they got to have a bad guy, and the bad guys are those looters.
It should be the police.
Yeah, the bad guys, to my mind, are definitely the police department. I think that most of America views the police department as the bad guys in this story.
Yeah. Basically, the looters are like, meanwhile.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
In some other location.
Yeah.
Cell phone video captures the frenzy of stores being looted. Some people threw rocks and bottles. The sound of gunshots rang out several times Sunday night. We had to take cover. All of this started as a peaceful march Sunday for Michael Brown's family.
You took my son away from me. You know how hard it was for me to get him to stay in school and graduate? You know how many black men graduate? Not many. Because you bring them down to this type of level where they feel like I don't got nothing to live for anyway. They're going to try to take me out anyway.
What is... okay, yeah, like, I feel bad for her and everything, but what the fuck is that guy doing to her?
I don't know. I was
You
just
mean the
wondering
guy
what the fuck
holding
she
her?
was...
Yeah.
That's her husband or boyfriend or something.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell's going on? Like,
I was just wondering what the hell she was wearing, but okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know I should be focused on loftier things, but Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah, you're the fashion police now, huh?
Yes,
TJ?
I am. Put a shirt on or something.
I'm kind of split on this on her statement, dude. You can't say that kids don't stay in school because they don't think they're gonna live. Some kids are just there are some kids I guess that would apply to, but I think some of the shit that kids go through who are in these type of environments is a lure of the street. You know, it's a lot of shit. It's our movies, it's our TV, it's our music, it's drugs, it's hanging out with your friends, it's being rebellious, being a teenager. It's not just, well, cops are trying to kill me. You know?
Right, exactly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
She's definitely taking a very like oversimplified, dramatic kind of stance on it. I mean, well, it's kind of understandable in her position, though.
Exactly. I agree. Yeah, you're
But I mean,
absolutely right.
I kind of agree with you on the allure of the streets thing, especially if you're in like a really impoverished area where the criminals really are the ones who have the most success, that are the most easily accessible role model that you can take a look at, you know?
Right. And it's just that I don't expect her to like articulate that. So I'm not knocking her for it. I'm just saying there's other reasons for it, you know. But hell, man, her son got murdered.
Right,
So,
exactly. So you got to give her some
She gets a pass
slack.
all day. She
Sure.
gets a pass from me on her statement.
Yeah.
Of course. I think all of us would agree with that. All right, so let's. Is there any more, Ben?
Yeah, there's more.
Let's take a
couple
look.
minutes.
Yeah.
Victim's friend says they were walking together when Brown was stopped by a police officer. Witnesses say the teen had his hands in the air at the time he was shot and killed. But police tell a different story, that Brown instigated the altercation, physically assaulting the officer while in his car and struggling to take his gun.
Which is why we need national legislation saying that cops have to wear fucking cameras already. Let's stop with this disputed, the witnesses say this, the cops say that.
Right.
And fucking put a camera on every cop.
I think they said
I'm
that,
sure there were cameras. Yeah, like where is the footage from the camera?
Right. The problem I've seen is all the footage I see is after. You know what I'm saying? It's after he's outside the car and away from the car. Cops keep saying something happened before that. That's what I can't get a picture of. I can't see it, so,
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to determine. But
you got to draw a conclusion,
Yeah, but who the fuck would reach into a moving cop car and try to grab a gun from a cop? Like,
yeah, exactly.
He was high on the crack.
Yep. That's what TJ's on. That's why he rocks back and forth so much.
Where the fuck did my phone go, Ben? You steal my phone again?
Yeah.
You're always taking my shit.
There's a lot of interesting pictures on it.
There definitely are. Keep going.
He was supposed to start college like Monday.
Wow.
This happened on Friday. His first day of class was going to be Monday. So I don't know if I don't know if you can say what was on his mind was fighting a cop that Friday.
And trying to grab his gun? I don't know.
Actually, was it Saturday?
I think it was Saturday.
It was a Saturday. My bad. Yeah, Saturday.
Doesn't matter. It happened, and it was very recent.
I just want to let you know, Tim, that in our chat room, our audience is saying that you're very seductive. And I just want to let you know. All right.
Questions sparked people
if they ever
to take
remake
action.
Shaft again.
We out here, we hold it down for the community. Caucasian, African American, Asian, everyone. It doesn't matter what color you are. Get out here and support your people.
Police made several arrests. Several hours of insanity. For the moment, distracting from the greater call for justice.
Yeah, some of the arrests they made were of journalists who were trying to cover the event.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Read about
Antonio, one of the I did a video just yesterday. One of the reporters was Antonio French, I think.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I think, yeah, and I meant to mention him. So any of my subs are watching, I want to mention that. I mean, they grabbed up these reporters for what? Filming them in a McDonald's, not moving fast enough.
Yeah, I mean, this was
it
was basically just like, let's intimidate these reporters so that maybe they'll be too scared to cover what we're doing here.
They've got footage of the cops firing tear gas at Al Jazeera, the newscast.
Are they like on paid administrative leave right now, like that typical bullshit?
I don't even think that anything has come to that.
No.
Who's that? You mean the actual cop who shot Michael Brown, or you mean?
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah,
It's one officer. Dude, that case is so screwed up, man. First of all, I listened to the 911 tapes from the dispatch. The officer who shot Mike Brown never even called it in.
Aren't you supposed to do that?
Yeah. When you fire your weapon, you're supposed to call it in. The cops at dispatch didn't find out about it until it was on the news.
Wow.
It's kind of like Dick Cheney.
Dick Cheney.
Dick Cheney, he shot his friend in the face with a shotgun and no one knew about it until it was on the news already.
Yeah, but he was embarrassed, though. That's a little different.
Oh, he blushed. He was
blushed
blushing.
a little. Aw.
He's never going to live that shit down, man.
No, definitely not.
I would say that he won't have to live that shit down, but the man is a cyborg, and
he'll live longer than all of us.
Yeah, he's going to outlive me.
When the Rob Zombie song is like, I can never die, they were talking about Dick Cheney. He's immortal. He cannot be killed. He's had like 12 heart attacks. None of them have killed him.
God's like, damn, I keep trying to get rid of him. I can't.
Luke, tell your sister that you are right.
Okay. So what's next, Ben?